Good day, everyone. My name is Deb McAvoy, and I'm the Associate Dean for Academics in the Russ College of Engineering at Ohio University. I want to talk to you today about what we have to offer you at the Russ College. This would be a conversation that we would have had if you would have attended one of our Ohio Up Close sessions in person. Because of the issues that we have across the world today, we are going to go and do a lot of these things virtually throughout the month of March, April, and May. So just wanted to make sure that you didn't lose the opportunity to kind of see what we have at the Russ College and hear about what makes us special. So that is what we're going to do today. Included in the email that you received this link for, you'll also have the opportunity to sign up for a one-on-one conversation should you have any in-depth questions about any one of our particular majors. You would have had the opportunity to do that at Ohio University through Ohio Up Close at lunch after my academic session. And then the other piece is that you're welcome to request to chat with any of one of our students via just a simple computer chat, not video, and ask them whatever questions you have about what's it like to be a Russ College student, how difficult really are the programs, how difficult is the transition from high school to college, what are their job opportunities like, what career opportunities do they have, and things like that that you might want to get from a student and not necessarily a faculty or an associate dean like myself. All right, in saying that, we're going to go ahead and go forward through our academic session, and hopefully I'll be able to answer a lot of questions that you may have. All right, the first one I'm going to start with is what is the difference between engineering and technology, because we do have both within our college in terms of majors. So engineering is more the application of science, which is very hands-on. Our calculus-based physics, our general chemistry, and mathematics from Calculus 1 up through and including differential equations. If you really like math and science in high school, a lot of our students, that's why they're coming to our college. However, a lot of our students that when they start, they realize that this might not be the math that I want, and this might not be the type of science I want. And then at that point, they have the option to drop down into one of our technology degrees. One of the most popular ones, if you've come in as an engineer, is to drop down into engineering technology and management. So it's a little bit less on that really hardcore science, a little bit less in the math, but most of those students spend the vast majority of their time in the lab actually physically working with metals, materials such as plastics, polymers, woods, and so they find a really nice home there. If you're still really excited about the math and the science as you start through your program, you can continue on through your engineering degree, and our engineers are the ones that really make decisions such as making sure all of our everyone in the entire United States has drinking water, looking at autonomous and self-connected or self-driving vehicles, designing those, how they're going to work on the roadways, because that's something that we're working on here now in the state of Ohio through Drive Ohio. So that's more on the engineering side. But we have options. If you're not sure, you can always start in engineering. It's pretty easy to change your major, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. All right, so what could you do with either an engineering or a technology degree? You can do anything. You can go anywhere. We have our students that go to medical school. They go to law school. A lot of our students are getting certificates with our Shea Sales Certificate Office, and so they are learning how to sell products that engineers design. Who better to sell the product of what an engineer designs other than another fellow engineer or technology individual? We do have project management certificates as well as Lean Six Sigma and construction management certificates, so a lot of those students go right into project management, assistant project managements into construction. So that's an opportunity that would then lead to upper level management or even executive leadership. We do have the math skills in any of our programs that could lead into anything that dealt with big data or quantitative analytics. And then of course if you really came into engineering because you really just simply want to design and create for good for the world or go into construction, you can do that as well. So I feel that an undergraduate degree from the Russ College is really the best undergraduate degree you can have, simply because we provide you the quantitative analytical skills, we provide you good communication skills, both oral as well as written. You have to have some business savvy in all of our programs. You must understand how to do project management as well. And so that's a really nice set that is transferable to really any career opportunity. So going back to what I said a couple slides ago is, what if I can't decide? What if I'm not sure? I'm making a guess that this is the engineering that I want, but you're in high school. You may have access to an engineer through family or through Project Lead the Way. It may only be one version of engineering, and so you don't really know what the other opportunities are in the other majors. That's completely understandable. I started in pre-med, and I was in pre-med for 2.5 years before I found my way to civil engineering. So for a 17 or 18-year-old to actually be able to have the capabilities to make the decision about what they want to do for the next 40 years with limited knowledge about what those career paths look like, that's kind of a daunting task. And so we're here to really help you, walk you through that path and to figure out, well, how can I take this and how can I convert that? And so a lot of our engineers and technology majors, we all start at the same place. We have a course you can take your first semester. It's an engineering and technology overview course. And from there, you can also take a math class, a chemistry or physics class, your freshman English class. We've got general education requirements. All of our students take a learning community class, a 1-credit learning community class in their first semester to help transition. And then you can kind of get that idea with that engineering technology overview class of all of our different majors that we have to offer. We'll bring in faculty and students for each major. You'll do a little mini project in each major. And that's really where our students get the better idea of, it's certainly not this major, and I've got a couple of ideas that I really would like to learn about a little bit more. And we in the Russ College, particularly myself, Julie Chicky, who's our Director of Student Success and Retention, and Grace Staller, who's the Assistant Dean for Student Services, with help from us and conversations with us, we can decide and guide your plan of study to assure that you still have a 4-year graduation plan while you're still doing a little bit of exploration in your first year. And you can change anytime you want. Obviously, the sooner the better. Changing your junior year, we can't guarantee a 4-year graduation. But freshman year, beginning of sophomore year, we can certainly make that work. And so this gives you that time and that space to really figure out who you want to be after graduation and where you want to go. All right, so let's get into some of the things that I find really special and awesome about the Russ College. The first one I want to talk about are Blake and Steve. They are our math instructors, so it's pretty unusual for a College of Engineering and Technology to actually have our own math instructors just for our engineering and technology students, but we do. They're housed within our building. We pay them. We ask them to teach 2 engineers and technology folks. Engineers specifically are a funny group. I'll make fun of myself here. If I don't find it worthwhile, I know that I only have a little bit of limited space in my brain, and if it's not worthwhile, I'm not going to utilize my brain space to memorize something or to learn something that is completely useless to me. And so we try to make sure that our math instructors prove to our freshman and sophomore students that math is critical, particularly pre-calc, Calc 1, and Calc 2, is critical for the foundation of all of our engineering programs. You will be utilizing those 3 math classes throughout your 4 years, and bringing those engineering concepts into those classes to really help you understand, the first derivative of velocity is acceleration. And at some point, any rocket would have a 0 velocity at its peak, but it will have a acceleration. And because time and distance and speed are all related to each other, but you can't divide by 0 because the velocity would be 0, well, but you can use the second derivative of acceleration to be able to solve the problem. And so those are the things that they're going to bring into the classroom. And I will tell you, they are 2 awesome gentlemen. Blake is born and raised in the state of Ohio. Steve is originally from the state of Michigan. So they're Midwest folks. They really understand the students that we have in our classrooms. They are available and have really created a math community in their offices. Their offices are connected, and many times their offices are just chock full of students hanging out on the couch. They each have a couch in their office, yes. Some are sitting at the table working on problems together. Other students are standing at the whiteboard that they have in their office. And Blake and Steve are coordinating that whole effort and talking to students and guiding them through the problems that they're having with the math. And sometimes they're just there to hang out and have a good time and joke around, which is pretty awesome as well. They're really your first experience and first introduction to hardcore engineering in our college, and they are absolutely awesome folks, and the students really love them. All right, we have another set of folks that a lot of our students are going to see beginning their freshman year and continuing on through the sophomore year. They are our fundamentals instructors. And so these folks are really interested in how do we engineer the better engineer, and how do we have our students really understand the concepts that are very, very difficult concepts. Maybe this is the first time you're actually going to be doing three-dimensional modeling of forces on a truss or a structure, and that's where they come in handy. They're willing to walk you through that process to really help you understand these fundamentals, so that when you get into your major courses, they really, really, you're solid there because of the strength of the background you've gotten through these folks. All right, Julie is our next individual who is awesome. I've already talked a little bit about her. She has a master's degree in education, so she's our non-engineer of the group. She works with a lot of our students in terms of advising, but also just the idea of, I had a bunch of A's and B's in high school, and it doesn't seem to be the same as it is here. I don't understand why I'm not getting an A in this class. And she will walk you through asking a lot of questions. How are you studying? What did you do that was successful in high school? How are you studying here? Why is it not so successful here? To really help guide you to improve your academic success within the Russ College. She can also be there if you have any issues that you need resources that are outside of our college, maybe library. We have a librarian that spends time in the Russ College, making an introduction to that individual, or if you need student accessibility services, she's our go-to person to really guide our students to find those resources that are available campus-wide to help. Julie also meets with our probationary faculty students, and if you go on probation in the Russ College, it's because you have either a 2.0 cumulative grade point average lower than a 2.0 with your cumulative, your department, or your major, or if you're retaking a course because you did not receive a successful grade on the first attempt, which sometimes simply is a C or better. So she will meet with those students and set up some goals and some plans. How are we going to get through this? How are we going to get you off probation? How are we going to turn this system around? And she also meets with students that have had flags raised on them. And so throughout every semester, our faculty have the ability to raise a flag on any individual student and all students. And those flags could be because they're missing assignments, they're missing homework, or they have a C or lower in their classes, or we have some mental health concerns about the student, or just some general well-being issues that we see. And so every time a flag is raised, Julie receives an email from the system, as well as the student, to let them know that a faculty member has raised concerns about them. Well, Julie starts meeting with those students that I like to call that are on super boil, those that have lower than a C in their class. And she will meet with them, because if we meet with them right around midterms or earlier, we can certainly take a D in a class and turn it into a B before the end of the semester. And she will help those students figure out how to do that. After we've triaged those groups, then we will work into the folks that I like to call that are on low boil. So they have missing assignments, missing classes. Those are things, you could have had just a regular flu for a couple of days and missed classes, but other than that, you were fine. And so it's not really a warning sign. It was a one-off experience. However, if a student is consistently missing classes in the first half of the semester, that's really indicative that the grade is not going to be what they want at the end of the semester. And so we'll really try to reach out to those students, and the second tier of students we reach out to make sure that everything's okay and they're not having any issues, and if they are having issues, what can we do to help them? And so that is Julie's job in the college, and she is great. And that smile you see, that is on her face pretty much all the time, anytime she's meeting with students. The other group of people that we have in our college are very critical: Dean Pidcock and Brenda Sinclair. They are the folks that really comprise our professional experiences office. They hold 3 career fairs every year, 2 in the fall and 1 in the spring. We bring 52 employers to campus for every career fair, and those employers are looking for full-time as well as internship positions, and they are ready to hire. A lot of those employers are walking into our campus looking to hire anywhere between 4 to 12 individuals in the upcoming months. So that is probably our biggest highlight that comes out of our professional experiences office. And then in addition to that, any employer that wants to hold on-campus interviews, we will help them do that and help them schedule that with the students. We do brown bag sessions if you want to have a mock interview, a resume critique, improve your resume writing, doing some job interviewing skills, and so that office also does that. So we are really strongly encouraging our students to do internships, a minimum of 2 prior to graduation. Most of those happen over the summer. And so we really want our students to have the best experience to be able to get those internships, and that is what Dean and Brenda really do for our college. We also have some multicultural officers. Grace, Dami, and Carol are the 3 that we currently have. We're going to add Jesus Pagan to that for next year. They serve as faculty advisors for Society of Women Engineers, National Society of Black Engineers, and the Society of Hispanic Engineers. We have those individuals travel with our students to conferences, as well as they have weekly meetings with the executive leadership team of each group. So we have student executive leadership as well as the overall student group. And so our faculty advisors work with the executive leadership team of the student group to help guide that student group for the rest of the semester of what they're going to do, bringing in professional experts to talk to the student body about what great things that they can do after graduation. So that is great resources for our student body as well. And then rounding out the rest of the undergraduate academic staff is myself, Grace Staller, which we've talked a little bit about as a fundamentals instructor, but also as a multicultural officer. And then the last individual we have is Jessica Schuler. So Jessica really handles all of our undergraduate paperwork. She has transitioned most of our physical paperwork to electronic paperwork over the last about 2 years ago. We really started this process. So if you want to change your major, we have a QR code that you just go to, you scan it, you fill out a couple questions, and it gets emailed directly to her. Grace and I evaluate just to make sure that you're not on probation or that you have met the prerequisites for entrance into the Russ College. All of you obviously have already, or else we wouldn't be having this conversation. But a lot of that is for if anyone wants to change their major outside of our college into engineering. We want to make sure that they have at least received a C or better in a math class and a C or better in a chemistry class. If you want to add a minor or a certificate, that's pretty much an automatic. Once it gets routed to Jessica, she just updates that in the system. So if you have any questions once you arrive here on the campus, I would say the first person to go to is Jessica. She'll tell you, if it's a financial problem, a bursar problem, a registrar problem, what you need to do, who you need to contact. She might already have the paperwork for you to fill out, and you don't have to go tromping across campus and get bounced around from building to building. So Jessica's an awesome resource as well. All right, and then I can't skip the departmental faculty. These are the folks that you are going to see for 4 years. Once you have chosen a major, or if you decide to start in a major, you're going to be assigned an academic advisor, one of our faculty, who will meet with you at least once a semester, so twice a year. You cannot register for classes until you've met with your faculty advisor, and they're going to talk to you about your progress to date. Do you have any issues that you're having in your courses? What kind of career are you thinking about? Are you looking at internships? And then they're just, as you get to know them, usually when I meet with freshmen and sophomores, it's usually me trying to draw questions out of the student, whereas my juniors and seniors, they just come in to hang out and talk to me for 30 to 45 minutes minimum once a year or once a semester. So you're going to get to that point where these are people you're going to talk to quite a bit and be able to guide you in your career. We ask all of our faculty to have an open door policy, so if you have any issues, to please go see them. If their door is shut, just knock. Sometimes their door is shut so they can do things like this, record a virtual video for the students. Sometimes it's because they're writing an exam or grading an exam. So they're probably in there. Just knock, and they'll be more than happy to help you. And then the other piece is they do have research, and they do need hands. And so a lot of our faculty do offer employment for our undergrads to be able to work in the labs. All right, now we want to move on to non-people things. We do have a freshman learning community. So it is a class, one credit class that we have our freshmen take in the first semester. And we have done this, and the university has done this. We've collected a lot of data and has shown that putting freshmen into a freshman learning community really increases their retention, and it increases their success in their classes in their first semester. And so we have all of our students take this. It will be about 20 to 25 students in each learning community, and you're going to take a cluster of classes together. We usually try to group, so if you're a chemical engineer, you'll have this learning community, and you'll have a math class, and you'll have a chemistry class, and you'll have either an introduction to engineering technology or introduction to chemical engineering class all together. So you will be seeing these same 20 to 25 people day in and day out, 5 days a week. So why do we do that? Why do we want you to be stuck with these same 20 to 25 people? Well, all of our students, as they become juniors and seniors, they understand that this really is a team sport. You're not going to be able to get through any one of our programs all by yourself, and you have to rely on other people, because everybody has strengths and everybody has weaknesses, and what we want to do is try to optimize our strengths and minimize those weaknesses. So if you are a chemical engineer, for example, your strength is more than likely going to be chemistry, whereas, well, frankly, the rest of the building, any one of our other majors, chemistry is probably not going to be our strength. I will tell you it's certainly not my strength. My strength is more physics related. And so having our students understand that there's resources in our building that are for free. You can trade services, trade tutoring, go to any one of our students for questions, and we really try to make sure that our students understand that if someone comes to you and say, hey, it looks like you're in physics, so am I. I'm in a different physics. I don't understand that homework as well. Can we sit down and talk about it? And we want to make sure that we train our students from the onset that it's an open door policy for all of our students too. That if you've got a question, you can go to another student and ask. And so that's why we have you sticking with the same groups of students, to make sure that you at least know 20 to 25 students really, really well by the end of the semester. And then as you move on, your network is going to slowly grow and grow over the first 2 years to where you're probably going to know the vast majority of people in the building, which is cool. We also have junior or senior Russ College students in your major that are what we call peer mentors in there. So you have half the class you'll meet with a faculty member, and half the class it's just going to be with the junior, senior in our major. And that's really so you can ask them questions without the concern of looking silly. By the way, there is no dumb question, even if it's to a faculty member. But, some of our freshmen don't want to ask what they would think is a silly or a dumb question to a faculty member. They're much more comfortable to ask that of a student. And so we give you time to spend just with our students, our junior and seniors, so that you can get those issues resolved as well. I want to talk a little bit about Fritz and Dolores Russ. Our college is the Russ College, named after Fritz and Dolores. Fritz graduated with an electrical engineering degree just a couple years ago. He has spent his entire life, more on the research side, and we've always kept in touch with him pretty heavily throughout his life. He's come back to Ohio University and Russ College numerous times. And prior to the endowment that he gave us, that's why we named the Russ College after him. But in 2012, he and his estate, after both he and Dolores had passed, gave us $124 million just only to the Russ College, and it's still the largest endowment ever given to a College of Engineering alone in the nation. And we have utilized those funds exactly as Fritz and Dolores have said they wanted to utilize those. So how are we utilizing those funds? Well, they come into a lot of ways. We have undergraduate research, because Fritz was very dedicated to research, and so he said he wants undergraduates to be involved in research. And so we have funds set aside to pay for our students' materials and some of their time to be able to work one-on-one with a faculty member. We also have transitioned that into competition funding. So we have a lot of students that participate in things like the human-powered vehicle or the concrete canoe. And so we pay for the materials for those competitions. We pay for the students to travel to those competitions and the registration fees. And so that is not a burden that our students have to carry. We also pay for students to travel to conferences. So it could be a leadership conference, it could be a Society of Women Engineers conference, an American Society of Civil Engineers conference. If there's a conference that you're interested in attending, we'll be able to provide funding for the registration for that and the travel cost affiliated with that. We also have leadership funding available, and that is really if you really want to develop your leadership skills, and there's something that you find that might be appropriate, or if there's something that we offer that you would like to join, we will pay for that as well. We also have two international experiences that are affiliated with the Russ College. The first is our Global Engineering Projects, which is very similar to Engineers Without Borders. The Engineers Without Borders was a little bit too restrictive for us, and so we wanted to open that up a little bit. And so we have a village chief in Ghana that every August sends us the needs of his community, and our students spend the entire academic year designing whatever it is that they need. It's been teacher housing, student housing, a playground, a water treatment plant, wastewater treatment facility, erosion control measures, something that all of our students can engage in, interdisciplinary. So we spend the academic year designing those, and then we order the supplies, ship the supplies. Where we're going to Ghana, there is no Lowe's, there is no Home Depot, so whatever you ship is all you have. And so trying to make sure that every last bolt that you think you're going to have, you're going to ship. And then we send the students to Ghana. We pay for the vast majority of the cost of that trip between us and the global engineering offices. And you work hand in hand with the community in constructing whatever it is that our students had designed during the academic year. Now the other program is our Global Consulting Program, which is run with the College of Business. So if you're really interested in understanding business and how it impacts engineering and how to develop leadership and management skills, Dr. Costas, who is an electrical engineer, one of our faculty members, he and his wife will take a group of students to Greece and fully immerse our students in the Greek culture, but also pick up some courses on that interaction between engineering and business. So both of those, you're traveling with faculty members. I didn't say for Ghana, you travel with Grace and Felipe Arosfera, who's an industrial and systems engineering faculty member. So great opportunities. Unfortunately, this is the first year that we're not going because of the coronavirus that has halted international travel. But I know our students are very upset that they can't go this year, but we are going to, as soon as we're eligible to go, we're going to go back next year, next summer, and really and let our students have that international experience. If you want to have other international experiences, we do have opportunities through the global office, and we have students that travel to, they've gone to essentially what was formerly known as Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Denmark, Ireland, England, Italy. So there's lots of other opportunities as well. But these are the two that we will pay for and fund. Before I go on to college credit, if you received a Russ Vision or a Russ Impact Scholarship, you can also thank Fritz and Dolores Russ for that, because they wanted to make sure to increase the opportunities for engineering and technology students within the Russ College, so we have a substantial amount of funds that we use to provide students to alleviate the burden of college. All right, so moving on to college credits and transfer credits. I know a lot of you students are probably taking College Credit Plus or AP classes in high school. We do know that those students certainly help prepare you to do well here at the university level, and we will pretty much accept any AP exam you take based upon the score. Usually a 3, 4, or a 5 will give you credit for a course at Ohio University. My one exception that we have in individual conversations with students at Bobcat Student Orientation is regarding to the Calculus AB exam. For Calculus BC, those that you have taken that, and if you receive a 3, 4, or 5 on that, you will get credit for Calculus 1 and Calculus 2. And so we really don't have to have too many conversations about that. But the Calculus 1, the AB, we have some students, math is not equal across the country, and education is not equal across the country. And calculus classes are generally taught as a terminal course that you're not going to be taking another math class. And so we'll have an individual conversation. We'll show you what you need to be able to solidly do before you enter Calc 2. And if you think you're good with that, then we can put you into Calc 2 if you have a 3, 4, 5 on AB. But I would say the vast majority of our students decide to re-enroll in Calc 1 simply because there are other things outside of just the simple content for the class. This is your first semester, you're transitioning to college. Calculus 2 is by far one of our hardest classes. I would say it's in the top 2 of the hardest classes that any of our students are going to take in their 4 years. And with the transition to college, coupled with the most difficult course that we offer, we do not want students to have a C in that class. That's the lowest grade you can get to pass Calc 2. And so a lot of our students agree that, yeah, retaking Calc 1, it does not put me behind. If I can get an A in that, that's a 4 credit of an A on my grade point average, and I can be certain to be solid for Calc 2. Most of our students that retake Calc 1 do excellent in Calc 2 in their second semester. So it's an individual conversation that we'll have. We want to make sure that we put our students in the class that they have the opportunity for most success and for the highest grade point average moving forward. Same thing happens with College Credit Plus, a little bit more so depending upon what university that was affiliated with the calculus class that you took. We have some that received an A in Calculus 1, and they got here and they received an F in Calculus 2, or some that have an A in Calculus 1, they retook Calculus 1 here and they barely got a C. And so we really want to make sure where our students are, what's the best chance of success. We do not want our students starting out with low grade point averages or doubting their capability and preparedness to be an engineering or a technology major. You have not been admitted to the Russ College because we thought you might fail. We only admit students that we are absolutely positively sure that they will be successful in these programs. And so we don't want a mental game to be played with those students. Because we have engineering degrees that are accredited by ABET, and our engineering technology degree is accredited through ATME, there are very prescriptive classes that need to be taken within that 120 to 128 credit hours in a 4-year program. And it does not work well to come here with 60 credit hours of humanities or social science courses because we only have room in our curriculum to have one of each of those. And so if you come in with the chemistry and the calculus-based physics and the math classes, those are really going to start to shave time off on your years. We could probably get you down to, at best, 3.5 years. But a lot of our courses with the course sequencing still lead you to a 4-year degree. And I always tell our students that come in with substantial College Credit Plus courses, this is an opportunity to really define who you are. Let's not start it at the beginning, but when we have openings in our class schedules as we move through, let's add in a business minor. We've got students that are doing a double major, like a German major or a Spanish major, because they came in with substantial College Credit Plus recommendations, and that really changes the outlook for employment after graduation. And so we can have those one-on-one conversations as well. But in general, anything that's College Credit Plus, all of those credits will transfer. And it's just a matter of whether it applies toward the degree. We also transfer all Project Lead the Way classes. So if you've taken these 4 courses you see on the screen, you will receive credit for those 3 courses here at Russ College. All right, what does our undergraduate student courses look like? Well, we are not bumping up our classes with 125, 150 plus students. Any course that's offered through the Russ College, we're going to have about 40 to 44 students in those courses. That's what our classrooms are designed for. The one exception to that is math, and Blake and Steve have requested that we put 60 students in there because they do very, very heavy active learning. Students spend most of the time on the whiteboard working together, doing peer-to-peer learning. And so for their classrooms, they would like 60. But everything else we're going to try to keep between 40 and 44. Even our regular faculty members do some active learning. We've got service learning, community-based experiential learning as well. And so we're going to keep the classes small so that we can have good interaction between the students. Just some more pictures of what our classrooms look like and what our students are doing in the classrooms. Sometimes we even have, these are the opportunities for more experiential learning. So our engineering and technology management folks created exhibits that we use here at the Ohio Museum of Discovery to really excite students about getting into engineering and technology fields. Our industrial and systems group worked on modifying children's toys that you can traditionally get at Walmart for disabled children that cannot use those toys as they are currently fitted. And so that was a really cool project as well that our students worked on. In terms of the undergraduate research, I said that we do have opportunities for that. I just want to show you a few pictures to show you that it's not the faculty that's doing the work. It truly is the student with guidance and advice from their faculty advisor, but it's the student that is actually physically doing the work, doing the data analysis, and having some really great experiential learning opportunities. I also talked about our competition teams. Just want to show you some pictures and some ideas of what we have. This is not all-inclusive. Many times random students want to open up a student group or go to a new competition, and the answer is always yes. So just a few ideas. Human Powered Vehicle has won first place in the last competition. So they're pretty popular. Concrete Canoe. We have Steel Bridge. We both have a rocket as well as a drone team. The rocket team's pretty cool. You have to go out and try to launch a 14-foot tall rocket into space. Our work, it's an environmental team competition. They travel with Dr. Ridgway, who's the gentleman that's in the middle of the picture on the top picture. They travel to New Mexico every year to compete, and they recently also took first place in the nation. If you're interested in aviation, we have our Flying Bobcats as well as our Aviation Sky Hack competition. If you're interested in robotics, we have two different. One is affiliated with Engineering, Technology, and Management, and one is affiliated with Mechanical Engineering, and that's the Battle Cats. And we also have the Autonomous Snowplow. In terms of our undergraduate student organizations, every one of our majors has a discipline-specific organization. So American Society of Civil Engineers, American Society of Mechanical Engineers, just to give you a couple ideas. So we have those student groups. The Bobcats Building a Better World, that's our global engineering projects. We also have the Society of Automotive Engineering, Society of Women Engineers, National Society of Black Engineers. We already talked about the Society of Hispanic Engineers. So even Eats with Engineers is a new group that came up 2 years ago. So we have a lot of opportunities for our students to get active, to get involved, to have leadership opportunities, to compete in national and or regional competitions that are affiliated with the discipline-specific organizations. So a lot of opportunities for our students to get involved and utilize their engineering expertise in a little bit of a different way. In terms of our leadership opportunities that we have in our college, if you want to chat with one of our students, we have our engineering ambassadors. And so these are the students that you would be chatting with online. And they are usually here to give tours for our students if you wanted to come and have a tour. In this day and age, our ambassadors are very sad because they don't have the opportunity to interact with prospective students right now because our campus is closed to visits. But they're pretty excited to chat with you guys, so if you guys want to chat with them one-on-one, they'd be thrilled to do so. We also have a Robe Leadership Institute, which is a class that is offered in fall semester. We bring CEOs from across the country to come in and talk to our students about the difference between leadership and management and how you develop your vision to inspire others to follow you. And then they take a trip at spring break to San Diego. This was the first year that we did not go, but normally it's go to San Diego to spend a week to meet with other CEOs. So it's a pretty cool class. All right, student employment. This is usually the big one, right? And so we do not have co-ops. Co-ops are something that is transcribable on your transcript, and you have to pay credit for something that shows up on your transcript. A lot of our students are low-income students or first-generation students, and we didn't want to burden them with that cost. And so we ask our students to do 2 internships prior to graduation. Again, most of them are over the summer, and they have some really cool opportunities, just some pictures from our students. The gentleman that is here in the middle, on the right side of the screen in the middle picture, that is actually, he designed and managed the construction of a piece of the Freedom Tower in New York. So that was a really cool experience for him. Our students get paid about $18 an hour for 40 hours of work for 15 or 16 weeks throughout the internship, and so they can make about $10,000 to $12,000, which roughly would pay for almost an entire year of tuition. And so it's a great experience. That picture below you see here, that's a picture of our career fair. That is in the Academic and Research Center. We also have it in Stocker as well. So it's pretty heavily populated by employers, but also pretty heavily attended by our students. In terms of after graduation, about 98% of our students are getting jobs after graduation, and they're making about $68,000 on average in their starting job. So why would you want to become a Russ College engineer, computer scientist, or technologist? We really want to have our students that create for good, and we firmly really try to push to our students that it's no longer about you and your opinions and your beliefs. What we need to do, all of the graduates from the Russ College, we need to go out and improve this world and do whatever is best to make the world truly a better place for everyone to live in, make it easier. And an example is one of our employees in the Russ College, one of our researchers, has been called to Quidel, who is going to be producing tests to detect the coronavirus. And we have that resource. That is really something where we have a need, and our employees and our alumni are really going out to fulfill that need. All right, so that's it. If you have any questions, please contact me. I really hope that you have an interest in Ohio University, and we're more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. I wish we could get you on campus, but there's a lot of videos out there you can see of Ohio University. We have a beautiful campus. We have, I'm going to argue, the best students in the entire state of Ohio at the minimum. I would probably say the region as well. And it's a pretty awesome place to be. We've got great faculty too, so we love to see you here at Ohio University. Thanks for your time.